Jazz recap here on DJ and PK 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott with you. The Jazz went to overtime, but came up just short against the Thunder, 129-125. Jazz had a 2-point lead with 3 seconds to go in regulation after a Lowry Markkanen put back, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hits the game tire on the other side, sending it to overtime where the Jazz came up just short. Big performances from Lowry Markkanen, 29 and 13. Keontae George, 25 and 11 assists. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 46 points for the Thunder to get the win. Let's get to the postgame sound and Jazz head coach Will Hardy.
Yeah, our scramble around the basket was tremendous in that quarter. They had 4 paint points in the second quarter, which was a really, really good moment for us. I thought the second and the fourth quarters both, we did a great job protecting the paint. And they're a tough team to guard. They're very good at creating the advantage off the dribble. Obviously, Shai gets a ton of credit, and he should, but their team as a whole does an amazing job of putting pressure on the paint off the bounce. So I thought the team did a really good job in the second quarter, to claw our way back into the game. And then in the fourth quarter again, of really shifting to help and guarding the ball. I thought there were some physical plays made at the basket, which is an area that we are really trying to improve. So, like I said, I'm really proud of our team after that game. I wanted that win bad for them coming down the stretch, but if we can just cling to that level of competitiveness, we're going to be just fine.
What were some of those things, kind of late game and overtime, that without rewatching, obviously, that you would like to execute better?
Yeah, the last play when we're up 2, getting the ball directed to the crowded side. Ideally, the catch for Shai is a little bit tougher, albeit with 3 seconds left, he does catch it moving out towards half court, but, Bryce is on the inbounder and jumping into shifts quickly and, recognizing that with that amount of time, it's hard to take a dribble and pass and have somebody else get a shot off. But Shai does a great job of getting low and getting to where he wants to go with the ball. We also did talk in the timeout about they were in the bonus, and the last thing we wanted to do was foul in that moment. You want to make them earn it by making a tough shot, and he did. Credit to Shai, that's why he's the MVP. And then I felt like in overtime, the 2 fouls late in the bonus, the steer foul, and then the foul on the rebound with Chet, those are moments where you want to make them earn it. And again, I don't want that to come across like that's why we lost. It's not. But there are things that you can learn from in these one-possession close games at the end, because you have to do everything to give yourself a chance to win, especially against an elite team.
What made the decision for Walt to be on the quarter late in the fourth and then also overtime? And then in addition to that, I know that he'd probably like to have a few missed shots back, but what can you say about what he was able to do late?
Well, hopefully the reason that Walt was in is relatively obvious. He was playing well. And yeah, I think, his aggressiveness late in the game was really good for us. It's a good learning moment for Keontae and for Lowry that takes a lot of energy to get to that point, and then it takes a lot more to have the ball and be getting picked up full court and the ball pressure and the physicality that they play with. And I thought Walt being a secondary ball handler was really good for us. Made a bunch of plays, but some of the missed shots, they're tough. When you're playing off of a shot fake and a step through in the paint against that team, those shots aren't maybe as easy as they may look to people on TV. I thought Walt was outstanding tonight.
That's Jazz head coach Will Hardy. Let's now move on to the players and hear from Keontae George.
Just say our compete level. I felt for the past probably a couple weeks now, we've been kind of talking about the same things over and over again. Will has been talking to us about the same things over and over again. So just to go out there against the defending champs, obviously, trying to give them our best game and kind of find our identity when it comes to being out there in between the lines. And so like I said, just a compete level, that was the main thing that stood out. So when the compete level is there, that's when we're able to kind of nitpick on some things that could, get us over the hump to, win a game like this.
How important are these late game overtime games against the top teams in the league?
I mean, for sure, really important. I think I've said it before, like just when we can put ourselves like in these situations, having to find ways to take care of the ball, having to find ways to get Lowry the ball and make sure they're clean shots, or even just the 5 people out there, like even Walt tonight, out there playing phenomenal, came in, guarding, rebounding. Like for all of us, that's a great experience, including me. So I think for us, like I said, it's just real important because Will says all the time, young people come in this league and all they want is opportunity. So tonight was an opportunity for us to really play, like you said, against the top team in the NBA, and kind of see where we're at. At the end of the day, we know where we're trying to get to, and we understand it's a process. But like you said, it's really important to find ways to, like I said, put ourselves in tough games or even winning games by 10 or 15. Like if we can, when we can continue to just try to find ways to do that, as a team, we gonna look back on this and understand it was for the greater good.
You mentioned your teammate Walt. What more can you say about what he was able to do late tonight?
I mean, you've seen it tonight. Big time, pull up, going right from the 3. I mean, I talk to him about that all the time. Like, not a lot of people in this league have that shot. And the fact that, I feel like my rookie year, I worked on that shot, and I kind of tell him, like, no hesitate, bro. When we out there on the floor together, I tell him all the time, like, we should let it fly. Like, I don't got to be the point guard. Like we just play off each other. And then you add Lowry to the mix. You add whoever you want to add to it, but specifically Walt. Like, he has the ability to score at all 3 levels. Can pass the ball. I mean, like he got a lot of things to him. So I've just been honestly just staying on him about being confident. Because when you can be a dynamic guard in this league, then you give Will the chance to throw out different lineups. And it don't matter how tall he is or how short his arms are. The fact of the matter is that he was able to impact the game tonight on both ends. So, kudos to Walt. I be on his head all the time, every single day. I talk to him so much. So the fact that he was in this game tonight, I'm just happy for Walt. So the work is showing. Obviously, it showed today, but I just honestly feel like that's another stepping stool, for Walt to kind of come into his own as we go through the season still.
You guys finish this 4-game road trip with a lot of energy, a lot of effort tonight, back-to-back tomorrow against the Mavs. What are you hoping to take into that game after finishing this trip?
I mean, it's the NBA. Like, we know it's going to be, we're going to have tough schedules, whatever it is. I know you hear it all the time, no boys allowed. So I just want to keep harping on our compete level. If we can go back home, we get the energy from our home fans now. So if we can keep that compete level, I mean, like I said, that's when we can nitpick about, the basketball piece as far as, thinking the game out and stuff like that. But if we're not competing, we just laying down, there's no need for guys to try to throw out different schemes and stuff like that. So for us, we're young. We should have an advantage when it comes to playing teams, whatever, if they're on a back-to-back or we're on a back-to-back or not. So I think we just got to just compete, bro. Just have fun doing it, play off one another. So I think this game has kind of really showed us that we got the energy level, the compete level, just everything for us to put a good 48, against, the top of the top.
That's Keontae George, 25 and 11 last night from Key. Let's now hear from Walter Clayton.
Tough environment, but to stay in the game and finish in the stretches, what did it feel like for you in that?
Just felt like, the guys on the coaches had a little bit of trust in me to go out there, be in the game down the stretch.
How are you learning to play in these kind of big moments like this? You've done it in college, but at this level as well.
Yeah, for sure it's different. This is the biggest stage in basketball, so just learning kind of what I did in college. Stay focused, kind of keep my mind straight.
How has your and Keontae's relationship helped you on the court, especially in moments like this? I know you guys talk a lot and to try to help each other out.
For sure, it's just a trust factor. At the end of the day, I know on the court I can trust him. He knows he can trust me. Some of that is built off the court for sure.
How much are you leaning on the fact that you know that you're not just like a one-sided guard, that you can do multiple things on the court?
I think I'm just trying to go out every night and do whatever the team need me to do. You know, at this point, obviously, we got some great players and some guys who are going to come out and do what they do every night. So just trying to fill in the holes wherever they are.
Where do you feel like your defense has been lately?
Been up and down. Just got to be more consistent for sure. Just get my chest on people, being a little bit more physical. You know, obviously they're calling some fouls, so still learning, you know, through that whole situation.
That's Walt Clayton, 15 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, but the Jazz fall to the Thunder, 129-125. Next up, the Jazz have a game tonight. The Dallas Mavericks are in town, 7 o'clock tip, 6 o'clock pregame, right here on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.